What's going on, everybody? The team is back. We're going to be doing this showdown show, and then we will have our normal 11 Eastern time show on Sundays. But we wanted to look, we don't get Friday night showdowns very often, and we've got Rody's team. So how can we not possibly have Rody on with us? And they've got like 17,000 options that we have to decide between. And so we need Rody's help with this. So at least we have some intimate knowledge of the team. Rody, I'll start with you, and then we'll go over to Sheets. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Ready for another showdown. It's a Friday night, a little different than normal, so this is kind of fun. You know, my Packers are playing Friday night primetime. So
you know what? I haven't spoken to you in a while, and I know you probably talked about this online before or later, but I haven't asked you how was the live final?
Oh, the live final was great. I didn't do that well. I placed all in the middle lineups. All my lineups still profitable event for me the way I do it, and it was really good. I took a bunch of friends there. DraftKings always puts a really nice event on. So if you can make a DraftKings live final, it's definitely worth it. They're really fun. So
where was it?
Chicago. We stayed right in front of Wrigley Stadium. We went to a White Sox game at Guaranteed Rate Field, which is in the suite. Their DK Sportsbook was right by Wrigley. That's where the event was all day for the baseball event. You're drinking, get food, and everything. So it's really cool. So they do like a meet and greet the night before and drinks, and this is a wild time. Out
now tell me why. I'm sure I could figure it out intuitively, but why is there no late swap?
I think they just want you to enjoy the event. So you have to put your lineup in, and there's no late swap. So yeah, it was challenging because a lot of stuff wasn't out yet. Some people took chances on teams that weren't lineups were just coming out after the lock, but Tigers came out 2 minutes before that lock too. So it was kind of wild, but I think it's just usually they don't have it where it separates that much though. Like they didn't. Before I've been to one, they never included the night games. The slate was over by the afternoon games. And
when do you have to put your lineups in?
Right. So it was like 4:15 Eastern, and they had some 7:00 Eastern games on the slate. 7:20 game even on the slate. It was 4:07 Eastern actually.
But how did they do that? How do they make it no late swap? Is it like late swap, but they just don't give you access?
They made a special contest. It's a totally different contest. Their own slate. They enter the contest in the ticket. Okay. So you have tickets in your tickets or whatever, and they put them in for you, and it's a separate slate. It wasn't on anything else. Nobody could see it. Nobody could play it. It's literally non-late swap on the contest, and then it locks right at lock. So special.
I have a feeling it might be to prevent collusion of some kind.
There's other reasons. I'm not sure at all.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
For those like you two freaking gangsters who make these live finals. I mean, you could tell me more about these.
Well, the football one's 3 times the size of the MLB one. A $15 million prize pool, $2.5 million to first. 200 people can make this one. So, that's a nice one to win. I won a bunch of satellites for it.
So Marshawn Lloyd is inactive.
And we are trying to figure out. I don't think the projections have quite updated yet.
No, they're not updated yet.
But
So you know what I want to do? This is what I want to do. I want to go through. I mean, if you tell me, Rody, because I don't know anything about football. You tell me any of these guys should be X'd out or used. I'm going with everybody that's got a projection. So have you heard of any of these guys? So let's start with the Philly. I've Will Shipley with a 0.43 point projection. Does he have any hope or not at all?
Yeah, they actually at practice they were using him a lot in the red zone, so he does come in the first team. I'll probably have some Shipley myself. I have a ton of him in best ball.
Really?
So, yeah. Word is on the street they're using him. He's kind of a quicker back, catches passes out of the backfield. Could be that Justice Hill kind of like last night came in with 5% ownership, catch some passes, almost got there with the touchdown, but didn't. So he could get in the red zone usage. So he wasn't in the red zone packages at practices. So
I'm gonna I didn't know Philly had a red zone package. I thought it was just a tush push every freaking
it's an interesting one. So
we'll see how it works with Kelsey.
So what I'm doing again is just trying to figure who my pool is. I'm going from the bottom up. Do you know who Britton Covey is?
No.
Okay, so he's gonna get X'd. Oh wait, you know him? You know him, Bobby?
Yeah, I don't have any takes on him though. Takes.
Do you think he's going to play a snap? You know what I mean? Anything at all?
I would probably not be playing any of them.
Okay. What about Johnny Wilson?
Johnny Wilson. I don't think I have anything.
He's like their 4th receiver probably, and Covey's the 5th.
We're going to get to guys you've heard of. But I'm going from the bottom up. Okay, so here's an interesting one. So we were waiting on, is Tucker Kraft playing?
So I'm still waiting for the official update on. Let me just take a quick look and see if anything else has come through. I don't have anything on him yet.
I don't have anything on him either.
Because if Tucker Kraft is out, you have Ben Sims at 200.
But yeah, and still you've got what's his name in front of him,
Musgrave, which I really like a lot tonight. I'm getting a lot of double tight ends. They're cheap for both teams, Goddard and Musgrave. But I mean, Sheets is onto something with the cheaper tight end option that could come viable.
Well, I'm just saying. And what about EJ Jenkins for Philly, 200?
I think it's I mean, he's the third string tight end.
Okay.
It's possible like he could get a few snaps, but I don't know. I didn't end up with.
What about
some
this
sites don't even have him in the player pool? So
no, okay, that's why I'm doing this. What about Grant Calcaterra?
Yeah, they have him in the play. Some sites have him in the player pool. He's the number 2. I don't have the third in some of the other places.
Okay. What about Malik Heath?
So I think Heath will definitely, be on the field at some point. I don't know how much it's going to end up. He'll end up. There's just too many Packer receivers for.
Yeah, you start digging even in Bo. I like Bo Mountain better than the Heath probably.
He was going to be the next. He was going to be the next guy.
Bo Mountain's hit a big play for him last year when other guys were hurt. But I mean, you already have all the other guys.
Dude, Bo Melton. He actually has it's a big projection. He has like 3.5. So
yeah, he's got the highest projection on the slate. He's actually.
And Bo Melton. He's like 15% projected ownership.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like actually
that's higher than what I'm seeing.
I think.
And it's bringing up an interesting thought to me, Sheets, because this is the kind of slate with these teams where there's so many differentiating. Like, I don't know if you need the minimum cost stuff, and I think you might need some of these other guys. Like Goddard could be the highest scoring player on this slate, and he's 5,800. Christian Watson could easily be the highest scoring player on this slate, and he's 5,600. I just don't know what you'd be saving to spend for unless you're specifically only having, maybe only in your Hurts captain lineups along with what's his name?
Yeah, but you don't even need that, Bobby, because you can get Hurts with Musgrave, Goddard, Watson, Jacobs, Love. Like you can get all that in the lineup.
Oh, I'm sure no one will play that.
No, that's what I mean. It's super chalky. So, but I mean, digging down here deep and leaving some salary might be a good idea.
What about so now we're getting the guys I've heard of. So Kenneth Gainwell, all right, he's still on the team.
Yeah,
always a good showdown.
Will Shipley, but yeah,
he's my showdown favorite always.
Yeah,
so he actually might be less used than Shipley.
I doubt that.
I doubt it. I think Gainwell still got the advantage, but I just know that Will Shipley was getting some red zone packages and the first team reps at practices. That's all I know.
And now I'm just going from the bottom up. Jahan Dotson. He's got like a 4-point projection. I've heard of him. He used to play for Washington, right?
Washington, new receiver. They just traded him like early on. He didn't get a lot of reps.
And on top of it, he had a lot of hype coming out, and this is a guy who actually could end up, breaking some big plays. So I think he's very much in play, even though the projections don't love him.
So
yeah,
Tucker Kraft,
he's cheap too, 3.2K. So
Tucker Kraft, I mentioned, he's the second tight end to Musgrave.
Yep,
and he's questionable. So we're watching for him. Emmanuel Wilson, is he in?
Wilson is. Let me just double check that. Yeah, he's in.
I'm pretty sure Wilson.
All right, so Wilson's part of the running back crew, and then we got the two defenses, and then you have kickers, whatever, and these guys in between. You already mentioned Musgrave. You like him? He's cheap, 4,600.
Yeah, they're all. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can get them all in. Yeah,
that's why I just don't think the minimum guys are going to get that much ownership or should. Because there's just so many cheap other spots.
And then with the real receivers here, you got Dontavian Wicks, UVA, right? He's 5,400. He's got a low projection, but
so many receivers. Yeah, he's like the fifth guy, right?
Who could easily be the number one today for the
right.
But he hit a bomb in preseason. He had 63-yarder with Love, so he connects well with Love.
And then we're at the real place, like Watson and Dobbs and Goddard and Reed and Smith, Jacobs, Barkley, Brown, Love, and Hurts. Okay, so that's the pool. Right?
Yeah.
Someone that plays some combination of the players I just mentioned is going to be in contention for a lot of money. So, right? I mean, there's nobody else. Right? I don't think there's anybody else.
No, I don't think so either.
So imagine that. I already gave out the winning lineup. I mentioned all the players that are going to be in the winning lineup. I just don't know what order they're going to.
That's a great start to football for 3 of us here.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already given out. This is like the ultimate like tout life. I already have a screenshot. We could edit out my thing. Say Luke Musgrave, you know, and then like Octavian Wicks, and then we say, hey, who is this? Bo Melton, you know, like right in there.
Yeah, it's a weird slate because like, and we're getting a few questions in chat we could catch up on in a minute, because I think that it is really like, which side are you gonna take? And the weird part is like, it's sort of spread out a little bit. I first of all think the projection on Watson is too low. I think Watson is the best play of all the receivers for the Packers. Yeah. I'm expecting a big year out of Watson. I asked Rody in Discord, and maybe you could shed some light on it as a Packer fan, because I do think he's going to end up being the number 1 by the end of the year. But it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up being Dobbs. I do think that it is him, though, and I think he's not being treated. Or it could be Dobbs or Reed, I should say. I don't think he's being treated like he is. Although, you know, they're all kind of priced in a similar range. But I'm taking the most overweight stance on Watson tonight. That's just me. What do you think about that, Rody? What are your thoughts on how the pecking order is going to work between the big 3 for the Packers?
Yeah, I did answer that. I don't think you've seen the answer, but yeah, Watson, when he first came on, or when Love first came on, Watson was a big target for him. He liked him, but then he got hurt, obviously, and then Reed and Dobbs became big targets. From camp and other reports, Dobbs is making the best connection with Love currently. I'm a little bit more worried about Reed, even a little bit, because I have him some other fantasy, but Dobbs and then Wicks hit some big preseason plays, but you know, Watson's still there. I think he's an athletic guy. He is too cheap on this slate. He's popping in some optimals. He's popping in a lot of stuff because you can fit these guys all in, and he is probably too cheap for what he can produce. So he could have big touchdown upside, big play upside. So
absolutely. So those are the big decision. I mean, those are the decision points, right? You sort of have to take a stand on some of these. So I guess I'm overweight him versus the other Packers receivers.
So I think the big question is, do we want to? I mean, some people are worried about we don't know which receiver is going to get it, or maybe he spreads it out to all of them. Do we want to not put any of the receivers in the captain spot and find like that upside captain from a different? Or I know a lot of people play Hurts.
Like last year, though, when it was sort of hard to tell who, there was always somebody who emerged.
Always the one guy. Yeah, I mean, there is that too. Yeah,
there's always that one game with the one guy where it's sort of like the Houston thing with their trio at receivers this year. Like we're going to have these conversations a lot. And
I think Sunday we're going to have that conversation, actually.
Yeah, for sure. That's not even a doubt, because that game
Houston Colts in a dome game on Sunday. So
yeah, against maybe the most athletic human being ever existed.
Richardson on the other, with the Colts. Yeah.
So Wilson practiced in full.
He's in.
Kraft, I believe, is confirmed.
I'm pretty sure he's going to play.
Well, they didn't elevate a tight end from their practice squad, which is good enough for me. Okay. So it's not like he's, whatever. He's a second string tight end, right? I mean, like the second tight end. The second tight end.
Yeah, but he's actually one with a little bit of like upside potential, I think. We've seen.
Yeah, he was drafted with Musgrave. He was just behind him in the draft. He's pretty talented too. He's been liked. Did good last year.
He could easily be the Isaiah Likely to Mark Andrews from last night.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, look, and I think it's pretty straightforward. Like, I mean, we know that the Eagles in general, they were basically the worst team against the pass all season long. They also were playing from ahead a lot, so that's part of the reason. But I do think that you want to get, sort of as a construction thing, like I'm finding myself a little more receiver heavy. I like the double running back things that we like to do a lot of the time, but I'm a little more receiver heavy on the Packers side, whereas I'm more interested in playing Saquon. This is nothing like, groundbreaking, but I'm more interested in the Saquon Hurts with one of Smith or Brown or Goddard, whereas I like the idea of maybe using multiple. You mentioned the idea of maybe not playing the wide receivers in captain. I sort of like the idea of gambling on the receivers, especially in the large field stuff, and rotating them. But mostly for me, it's going to be Watson, just because I feel like it's important to take somewhat of a stand. But that's the it's the passing game from Green Bay, mostly the running game from Philly, which include Hurts, is the way that I'm doing this. And of course, I'm going to be overweight Gainwell, and the very similar type of player and similar type of play that we talked about last night with help me out. Why can't I think of the backup running back who is just as ill? It's a very similar type of play to me, the Gainwell play. And teams early in the year tend to lean on guys who they are familiar with, especially when it comes down to like 2-minute packages, things like that. So you might see Gainwell in some of those spots and maybe not Saquon in all of them. That's what I would say.
Let's get a little more info on this Shipley character. Let's just see some blurbs here. He had 5 rushes for 15, got 4 targets in the preseason game. Gainwell got the start, and then Shipley got into the game. He had the so he's more of a receiving back, it looks like. So I guess if I were one of those guys, right, I would play him in game scripts where Philadelphia needed to pass the ball. I guess.
The only problem is there's
except they have guys already.
I mean, like he legitimate, like these guys may not play at all. The other Philly guys, like sure they might catch a pass, but it may not be good enough. You can have somebody catch a touchdown pass whose minimum cost, and that might not be good enough tonight. If this is a regular season game played in normal circumstances, not in Brazil where they can't get out of their hotel room, this would be like, I think the total would, first of all, it's already a huge total, but it would be even higher. And this would be like a game, even on a 12-game slate, that we'd be trying to figure out ways to stack because there is so much upside potential. And I don't think that I think they're going to score a ton. All the players, whatever, let's say 2,400 or maybe even higher, actually, let's say 3K and up. I just don't see any reason to go beneath it personally. But look, I've been wrong plenty of times before. I just personally don't see any reason to do it.
Yeah, even the Sims isn't giving me any of these crappy players, man. Running the millie with the Sims.
Yeah.
Wide open, no salary constraints.
Well, I talked about this a couple of days ago. I would be very careful about using the contest Sims in Showdown. And the reason for that is the impact or the effectiveness of the Sims completely depends upon what field you try to compare your lineups to. And with everybody trying to get so unique and leave money on the table and screwing around so much, it's really hard to really make a field that's going to represent what the field is actually going to do. So I, in Showdown, am not really doing that. I want to show you something. Like here, like I want to show you something that I don't even know that people knew. Okay, let me share my screen for a second.
Oh, here, okay, I'll stop this share.
All right, so share screen. So before you even run the Sims, right? If you just run your lineups or whatever, like very few people even know how it's being listed right here. Okay, like it's not being listed by top projected score by default. What it's listing is by Saber score, but very few people even go even further into that. So you look at single game, which is what it's defaulting, and you click on this eyeball here, and it'll show you what this is doing. So if you get into the meat of this, I will tell you this: like 100 times sim optimals is sort of aggressive, but it is taking away like minus 0.2 times average adjusted ownership. So even the default Saber Sim lineups are doing a pretty decent job of getting sort of aggressive. But if you don't like that, like you could, if you wanted to, like screw around with that. Like I did this Sheets default thing where I created my own metric, which uses, say, the 95th percentile outcome, and I took 0.5 times the sum of adjusted ownership. So you could, without running the Sims, do some kind of cool, funny stuff and get some pretty aggressive type lineups without running quote unquote the Sims. Because again, when you do run the Sims, you are sort of asking for it because you are, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to be right with respect to the field that you're assigning to it. So figured I would just throw that in there. And remember, single game like rankings here is really, it's not bad. Now I think that if you want to get unique, you have to do like some other shit, but this is not. I don't think that if you played these 100, for example, you're doing any worse than running the Sims. Okay, specifically for Showdown, because there's no way that the Sims are picking up the contest field. There's just no way, because people are doing game script rules. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of stuff that people are doing, and there's just no way that the Sims are picking up on that, like in a million years. That's my opinion. That's
interesting. I think it's a really interesting take because I was curious about that actually. But I hadn't actually thought that the same thing, but that's very interesting.
So one thing you could do, like screw around again, is what you can use the Sims for is this. So you look at Friday Night Millionaire and you get in here and it says 132,352, and that's a bear, right? So what you could do is you could force in ownership by putting that in the geo mean calculator. Let's say 130,000, which is like completely obscene. But let's say that you wanted to limit it to 15 dupes, which is pretty good. Like in a tournament like this, if you get only 15 dupes, that's amazing. So geo mean of 22. So if you put that in here, right now, before we do that, let's go. Let's put average projected score, so it'll see what we have. So it's 89.7 before we do anything else. And if we do a geo mean filter of 22, geo mean less than 22, let's see if we can even get them. Let's see. Yeah, so it goes down to 88.46. Not bad, right? So, and again, this is not perfect. This is certainly not scientifically proven to be the best way to minimize dupes, but it's certainly not bad. So so without using Sims, you can get aggressive. Now, what this did not do, again, is intentionally leave money on the table. I mean, you see like 49-1. I mean, you're getting them anyway, but it didn't intentionally leave money on the table. So if you wanted to do that, you could then sort by salary and say, okay, I only want lineups that are less than, like, let's just do it. Okay, let's add a filter. We'll go salary less than, and now the problem is I'm just literally making it up. You know what I mean? I have no idea what you're supposed to leave on the table, right? So you'll see that now I can have 100 lineups that have a geo mean of less than 20, so we're projecting less than 15 dupes, and we're leaving all this money on the and we're leaving all this money on the table. So this is something that you could do, and there's so many. That's what's so cool about this. There's so many variations to this that it's not like, well, what if everybody's gonna be doing that? Are you kidding me? I mean, you know how many different settings you could put in here and be different than everybody else? The one thing this does not do, and this is the Sheets Rody Bobby Holy War, it does not do any like game script stuff. Like regardless of what Saberson might say, when you're in Showdown here mode, there ain't no way. And they could claim the opposite. And listen, they might get mad at me, but they claim, oh, we've seen the results, and there's going to be some results where this thing happened, this team happens. I'm not a believer. I can't imagine that these are completely as game script accurate as if you did it by hand. Okay, if you did it by hand, you can say, okay, I want like max 2 of this. I want with every whatever the Eagle receiver. I want a Packer one in the games where I think it's going to be high scoring, and then in other ones I want the kicker with the whatever you call it. So you definitely can if you believe in the game script stuff, I think you could and you had the patience, you could make your own rules and build it by hand and have it reflect that. But as we've also discussed, I also believe that the game script stuff ends up, well, maybe not. I was about to say it ends up the potential of being a little bit too chalky, just because I think a lot of people are doing that. But maybe that's overestimating the work that people would put into it. Maybe is that true? Like, do you think a lot of people do that, or people are just lazy with respect to game script stuff? Do you think people go through and make like the rules to tell stories of games?
I think people, especially early in the season, really do.
Okay.
That's my take. But just based on even just our chat, people are all talking about their rule. There's a million rules they're setting and everything like that.
Some of the other optimizers make you put more rules in too, like build more stacks that way. So you have to build your lineups based on more rules and more game theory, basically.
What are you playing today, Rody?
I just got like 15 or 20 in that millionaire, and then I got a wildcat 333.
You're not doing the 4-point stands, the 4-4-4-4, the 44. I mean, the 444.
No,
I like that one. That's a little easier for me than the Wildcat.
The 44 is easier.
The 444 as opposed to the 333.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean the okay? I thought you meant the 44.
No, I'm not doing that. No.
I know. I was like, I was like, wow, we're going
this 444. It's the 4-point stance. It doesn't get like a billion people.
Yeah, it's a little smaller field, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be crazy in that one. That's the only thing I really made money in yesterday was I mean, I got like 30th in that. I didn't have any likely. You know what I mean? Like you don't really need. Yeah, you don't really need to be that.
My main lineup had likely, and it would have probably did really well in that.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I did really well yesterday in general, anyways. But
that's a roadie when I take my top lineup in the in the top lineup in out of 150 in the lottery, and you tell me, dude, all you have to do is put it in the 5K qualifier. You know what?
We're off to a good start.
I'm hoping they bring the 222 back. I kind of like that one a little bit better.
Yeah, what was that one called again?
Usually the deep thread or the.
Okay.
Yeah, I like. You know what? For whatever reason, I did really well with the years when they had it as the 180 tournament.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the tournament.
That 180 for 50K for first. I chopped like 4 times.
Yeah, back in the day, that's what I played. The 180. That was the deep threat. The 180 deep threat. 50K to first. I've chopped that. That was actually my first big showdown hit that got me a little more bankroll to continue to play a little bit bigger. Was that entry, that showdown?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Are you guys playing FanDuel or are you guys like smart?
I am not playing FanDuel.
I did yesterday. Actually went plus on it yesterday, but I didn't even look to see what it is. They've been so busy.
Yeah, I was in like third or something at one point, only chopping with like 4,000 people, I think. So I was live for like 1,500 at some point.
Yeah, I did have likely in some lineups over there, and I didn't have the right guys with them though. I finished at 900th, but because of likely, but.
So same thing. Let's do an example here, and I'm just using the Saber Sim stuff. And listen, I know I didn't put my projections up for a showdown slate. Listen, if you need like perfectly accurate projections in the showdown slate, you're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Like showdown is just a battle of lineup construction, which involves a combination of knowing ball, writing game scripts like you guys are good at, or just freaking playing with these tools, seeing how much variance you're willing to eat. You know, that's really this. It's not about, but I got Romeo Dobbs at 8.22. Ooh, I don't know. I got him at 8.19. I'm going to do better than you. You know what I mean? Like it's just not like that. Listen, same thing here. Let's take a look at the single game rating here. Let's see if it's the same thing. Yeah, it's still think minus 0.2 average ownership. And if we went to mine, like this sheet, do I have Sheets default here? Yeah, Sheets default here. It would actually be much chalkier. Like if I went to my metric, I would only get 5 guys in the captain, but that's actually not too bad. And the problem is, and look at all this money left on the table: 57K, 58K, 58. Yeah, this is pretty funky actually. So I don't know. And you can't play. You do geo-mean stuff in FanDuel, it'll drive you bananas. So like for example, like if you try to force in low ownership on FanDuel, this is what ends up happening. You look at, okay, Friday Night Specials got 66,113. So if we put that in, the one thing that people forget is that this is only five lineup spots. Right. So now, if you want to go 15 dupes, you need a geo mean of 18.6, and you might be actually able to get it. Oh God, let me just see. Add filter, geo mean, 18.6. Yeah, I might have to do it. Usually you can't get there with FanDuel, even with 15 dupes. But yeah, so we're gonna look at this though. Oh no, it only allowed you to play 4 lineups out of my like 2 million. So yeah, so it just goes to show you, it's doing the geo mean filtering is kind of nasty business here. So if you play FanDuel, you just have to just kind of resign yourself that you're probably chopping it, and you're probably degenning. But yeah, listen, it's week 1.
If you can chop it less than 100 ways, I'd be really impressed.
Yeah, so would I.
It's so hard.
It was actually looking good for a guy was solo shipping it last night. Actually, the $9 for 100K.
Well, I think these are the right games for it because you could get a weird play in there. Like likely was outscoring Lamar and Mahomes last night. So if you put likely in your captain, you could get unique.
Yeah, but the problem was when Lamar hit the 100-yard bonus, it changed a lot of things because you get more points over there for the 100-yard rush bonus on FanDuel, I guess.
Yeah,
no,
they
guys should
added the 100-yard bonus that we get on DraftKings and on FanDuel for both receiving and rushing.
Yeah.
And
So 3 people chopped the $9 last night for $100K each out of the 200 to first. 100K.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
so they must have had. So I guess they had Likely as the second MVP or whatever.
Yeah, they took it was 300,000 between first, second, and third. They chopped it each, so 100K each.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Who did I say? I saw what's his name? I saw Osimo was like he had a solo one on DraftKings for a while. You know, he's like cashing for $1 million.
Did you see his before how it began, how it ended?
I did see
that. Was pretty funny. I love him. I just love I love people who post those kind of things. It's just great.
Yeah, he literally was cashing for like $1 million. He ended up cashing for legit zero. Like,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Showdown changes that fast. It's really hard to watch. It's stressful too.
It's really stressful.
I'll tell you what's annoying about Showdown. It's in a similar way, sort of annoying about NASCAR, but Showdown's worse, is that you really can't sweat for like a while.
Right.
You know, because you have those defense that start off with the 20 points.
The night you can, or when you get that 2%er who's 200, you know, you get the weird funky guy. That's the only time when you really can, right?
But even still, he's not going to show like in like near the top until the defenses like normalize, you know, until the defenses go from 10 to 3, as you know they inevitably do, unless they don't. Then it's kind of a tough sweat Showdown, but eventually you see what's up, you know. Do you remember that last year? Like seemed like every day, like the captain defense would get there.
It happened so much last year.
I mean, it didn't actually happen that much, but it seemed like it happened.
It happened at least a few times.
Every game, it looked like the defense had like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Not the opening night, but the opening Monday night last year. I remember it was the defense you needed to have. It was the Bills and Jets.
Well, and part of it also was that the matchups were so poor. I mean, the games were so poorly designed. Yeah. You know what I mean? That you just had some terrible teams in there.
Definitely. I thought I'd go through some captain ownership and
go for it.
Go ahead and insult me. So I have I have my highest owned is right now are Christian Watson. I'm gonna stick with the take and Saquon. After that, I have Hurts, then Devontae Smith. And then in my biggest buy-in, I have Goddard, and then I've got a little bit of everything other than those guys. But my main ones are the Barkley, Watson, Smith, Hurts, Goddard. I am lower on Josh Jacobs tonight than the field is going to be by a pretty good way. Like I've watched Philadelphia every year. I know the way that you attack them is through the air. It might change today, whatever. But I'm going with that narrative or that belief that you're going to play the Green Bay receivers. You're going to play the Philly. You're going to play Saquon. You're going to play a good amount of Saquon, a good amount, obviously, of Jalen Hurts. And then you're deciding between Devontae Smith, Goddard, and Brown. And I think it's a pass-heavy game. Other than, I think they'll be able to run the ball. The Philly will be able to run the ball better than Green Bay will be able to run the ball.
It looks as though is Josh Naylor out
in baseball?
Or is he playing? It says day to day.
He's in.
He is in. Yeah, the guy I have in my lineup out is Matt Vierling, so I have to get him out.
Oh yeah, he didn't make. That's weird.
Phillies are off to the 2-run chalk start.
I switched everything over to the Phillies after they changed their pitcher.
Oh, good.
Not everything, but 60%. I ended up with 60% Philly stacks. Unfortunately, that means I'm probably chalky, but probably.
Yeah, no, I got some Philly too. They're all 5 points right now. The 5-5-5-5-5. They have the Trey with the everybody with like the single and the run score and the RBI pretty much. That was like
yeah, exactly. And they're not crazy on. They're all in the low teens. It looks like. All right. Anyway, I don't know how much more, guys. We appreciate you all. Please do us a favor and click the like button. We have so many people there in here. We love doing these videos for free. We want to keep doing them for free. So please get those.
I don't want to keep doing them for free.
Well, okay. We'll do other ones that aren't for free.
Oh, okay, good.
For the main slate things, we'll want to do those for free.
Okay. That's
fine. I'm just following my old RG read. That's what I used to read at RG.
You know what? Considering the atrocious takes I've given today, this one better be free.
It better be for free. All right. So what else do we have here? Anything for you, Rody? That's like any specific play, anything you're overweight on that's significant that you want to touch base on?
No, I mean, Sheets gave all the plays away, right? Like
I gave it all. I gave the winners.
all away.
I gave the winning lineup. I just did. With that said, I bet you somebody with like 0 is gonna like return a kickoff for a touchdown, like right out of the gate or something like that. It's gonna be
I don't know. I'm all about the double tight end. I like the tight ends, Goddard, Musgrave.
Well, why don't you talk? Well, why don't you talk about that a little bit? Why don't you talk about some of the rules you might be making or anything like that for this particular slate?
You're hand building today, aren't you, Rody?
What?
Aren't you hand building yours?
Yeah,
today?
I'm hand building all mine today.
Okay.
I'm not big enough. Sunday I'll be making.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Get after it.
Yeah.
I was just looking at my exposure here, and I like the double tight end. That's my big buy, and I have Goddard as the captain and Musgrave.
Yeah.
And
I like Goddard a lot.
Yeah.
I'm even Sheets talked me in a little Tucker Craft. I think I even got him a captain one.
See,
Yeah, it fits nice. I really got a nice Tucker Craft.
Something, right? I did mention all the players. And then,
the worst thing is Sheets doesn't usually mention that many players. So when he does, they have these weird abilities to just go off. So now we have
the Josh Oliver experience.
Yeah, exactly. You found Josh Oliver.
I found Josh Oliver.
All right, well, guys,
I'm gonna go.
All right, good luck to everybody out there. Me and Rody will be in Discord, and have a good night, Sheets, and let's get after it this season, fellas. And
wait. I know we're not supposed to do this till Sunday.
Oh, my fault. I messed up.
But Rody, you have to give me a little taste at least. Come on.
Yeah. All right, guys. As always.